Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Miniart. And this is a kit in 1/35 scale, so we have here figurines, and those are German tank riders from Ardennes 1944. So in 1/35 scale they might be handy for some diorama build, and of course we have a commercial sample, so this kit number 35411 is the final shape of the kit, and you will get exactly the same stuff if you order it, for example, from Modelimex. So for the box size, as you can see, it's typical for figurines from Miniart. Here you can see comparison with my hand. We also have the box art which shows 4 soldiers, so I guess we get 4 soldiers in the package. I already mentioned the kit number, and here we also have some safety advices, while on the opposite side you'll find 2 other kits from the same brand. We reviewed them as well, so you can find it easily on our YouTube channel. And here on the rear side we have the assembly manual, which is combined together with the marking guide, so maybe we can zoom in a bit closer and you will be able to check it in a closer way. So as you can see, the marking guide is working also as the assembly manual, so here you can also see the assembly manual for the machine gun. And overall I think it will be easy to understand what you have to do. I don't see any assembly options here, so in case you would like to have some variety, this is definitely not the kit, but it's also kind of strange to expect the variety from 4 figures set. And here, by the way, we also have the paints chart, so this is more of the conversion table, and this is really handy because it will give you an idea on which paint to use from this or that brand, especially if you have this let's say variety of the paints in your collection. So this is the side opening box. Here is what we have inside: the sealed plastic bag with all the sprues. And to open it, I will have to use the scissors, and then we will check each frame one by one. So just give me a moment. In the meantime, I can also remind you that we reviewed all of the previous figurine releases from Miniart, so in case you are interested, you can find it easily on our YouTube channel as well, and also the full review articles on our website. There I also post detailed photos, so this is definitely a good thing to check, so recommended to take a look. So first of all, we start with the plastic sprue letter D. Here we have the first soldier. I guess each figurine will have its own frame, so that's why we have such separation. But as you can see, overall parts design is typical for this scale. So if I flip it over here, you can see that we have the winter coat separated into several layers, and you have to be careful with this, and also you have to plan how you will be painting all of this stuff, because as you can see, a lot of pre-molded details. But overall I think it's really good, and here you can notice also that there are no guiding pins whatsoever, so be careful while working with such thing, because it's definitely important to pay attention to the fitment of those parts. Next we continue with the second soldier, so pretty much the same story, and of course the pose is predefined, as I said in the beginning of this video review, so that's why be careful while working with it, so that all the joints and connections between, for example, torso and hands, they look natural, and it's not visible that they are actually separate parts, just like the toy. And here, by the way, you can see those parts from the opposite side. As far as I can notice, here we have the torso molded as a single piece part. Maybe I'll bring it closer like that, so that you can see not only the torso but also the facial features. We have this small amount of the flesh around the parts, so be sure to clean it with a sharp knife. It's not a huge problem, but that's something what will have to be resolved in order to have a bit more realistic appearance. And again, here you can see that if I bring closer those 2 halves, we do not have any guiding pins whatsoever. And this is something of a small challenge for beginners modelers, but I think for experienced modelers it should be completely alright. Next we continue with another soldier. As you remember, we have 4 of them. We already checked 2 out of them. Again, here we have slightly bigger parts and still no guiding elements whatsoever, so those plain parts will have to be combined together. And we have a bit more of the flesh. It's easy to notice this. We also have these molding pins, so be careful with this stuff. Try to clean all of the necessary areas, especially this, what we have here with the torso. I think it will require some due cleanup, but it's it's not a difficult task, but it's still something what should be done. And well, as some of you wrote in the previous reviews, well, it's not that cool thing to see, but what is cool here is that, for example, these soils, which is rather simple subject, but as you can see, they're nicely detailed, and again, they have the flash, but I think it's worth it because it's nice to see attention to such small details on the figurines in 1/35 scale. Next, we continue with another figurine. This is the final soldier here, the fourth one, and as you can see, again, the pre-shaped position here. I'm just looking how the torso is made, and again, we have a slight amount of flesh here and there, so yeah, you will have to deal with it somehow. And maybe we can also take a look at the head here. So let's bring it closer and try to focus the camera, and now you can see what I'm talking about. So the facial features and the sculpting here looks really good, especially if you don't forget the fact that we are dealing here with the out-of-the-box features of the plastic kit. This is not a resin kit, this is not a 3D printed set, so that's why it's even more valuable in this form. Next, we continue with the machine gun. So this MG is molded on the separate plastic frame, and I would say it's quite detailed for, again, for the plastic offering, and it should be assembled out of several parts. I would say the parts division is somewhat smart because, for example, the bullet length, you can paint it separately, and this is really cool because it will be easier to work this way. And let's flip over the sprue, so here you can check it from the opposite side. Also, attachment points are placed here right in the middle of the hand guard, and also here we have it on the top of the receiver. So with this you will have to deal a bit carefully because otherwise you might end up with the marks on really visible spots, so definitely something not to skip over. Next, we continue with another plastic sprue. Here we have a slight amount of flesh, but I think it's not that important as the fact that we actually get the sprue, because here, as you can see, we have the various equipment, and I think it's easy to guess that you won't be able to use all of this at once. So some of those parts can stay in your spare parts box. They might be handy for 1/35 scale dioramas, and of course the quality looks really good. So you can notice that the amount of the attachment points is reduced to the possible minimum, so it's just a matter of separating those parts. And the flash, which I was mentioning, it's mostly on the sprue bars, not on the parts. Well, here on the rifles we have a bit of it, but I think it's easy to solve, especially if you have some experience in figurines in 1/35 scale. Next, we have the final plastic sprue. It's a sprue AC. Here we have the various equipment. While previous was for the armament, here we have the military equipment, so helmets, pouches, bags, also the water cans. Here we have the shovels, daggers, and all of the stuff here. And by the way, if I bring the helmet like that, you can notice that here inside we also have some features, which is quite important, attention to details. I think that's what makes Miniart a bit different from other brands, because we get a lot of things out of the box for a quite reasonable price. So as I said, this kit should be already available, and you can get it in Modelimex right now together with all recent releases from Miniart. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.